so I could start it. All right. I'm going live and I'm just waiting for it on the YouTube end, and we're live. Um, and I'm handing over the meeting to you guys.
Thank you very much. Want to thank you guys for coming to the Parks and Rec virtual meeting for February 15th. Time is precious. I appreciate your time. Could we call the meeting to order, please? And stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
of
the
the
United
United
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for
and
all.
justice for all.
I love that flag. Okay, if we may please have roll call.
Giromini,
Here.
Miller,
Yes.
Carrico,
Here.
Breakovich,
Here.
Ingram,
Here,
Longbreak,
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Can I have an approval, please, of the agenda and any additions? Are there any additions to it? Other than August for summer fall garage sale, it should be 2021 instead of 2020 for the year. I don't know if that matters, but to make the correction for the minutes tonight.
Yeah, the numbers in there got all jumbled up, it looks like, because it says August 507. So
Yeah, so I mean, a legal thing, I guess,
it's just a clerical.
just a clerical, but just so do I have an, excuse me, an approval of the agenda with a correction?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Diane.
I'll second it. Long break.
Thank you, Lori. And then do we need to have a roll call?
Yes.
Yes, roll call, please, Hannah.
Giromini,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Ingram,
yes,
Longbreak,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hannah,
Are
very
we
much.
missing, are we missing Mitchell?
Yeah, I was
In the
just
roll
thinking
call?
that. Where's Mitchell?
So that needs to be added too, right? To the,
You got sworn in and everything, correct?
He was on here earlier. I
He's
saw him.
here. I see him. I'm just asking, I didn't hear, did I miss his name in the roll call?
No.
Yes,
I didn't hear him
yes, he's-
either.
Yep, that was. I'm sorry, Mitchell, forgive me.
It's all good.
And you were sworn in and everything, correct? At the village?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Friday.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, we need to have you included then in the,
change that on the agenda so his name's on there, or does it?
Welcome aboard, Mitchell. Well, he
Thank
is
you.
on the, his name is up here under members.
I think his name is, I just saw it, his
Yes,
name's
it's
spelled
right
wrong.
here. Yeah, I was wondering that too. Can I have an approval, please, of the minutes of January 18th meeting, please, of 2021?
Make a motion to approve.
I
second,
Okay, Molly seconded. Thank you, Molly. And a roll call, please.
Longbreak,
Yes.
Giromini,
Yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Ingram,
yes,
Clark,
Yes.
Tarango.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hannah. And I don't really have any chairperson communications to the board because that'll be all down under new business. Do we have a call to the public? Do we have a public?
There are currently no callers with who want to ask a question or anything at the moment. So no public at the moment. Nope.
Okay, well, thank you very much, hon. So on to new business. A, fitness equipment at Clara Miller Park, the grant Priority Health. Did everyone get my email in regards to Chris about putting temporarily on hold the priority health and working towards getting grants for our playground equipment?
Yes.
Okay,
I do have a quick update on that because we did meet on Thursday, Dave Gillum and I with the Priority Health NFC representative. And they were able to tell us that the committee would be able to provide support for fundraising in the range of $25,000 to $50,000. They would be able to set aside resources to do that. But as we explained to them, we decided to hold off this year in order to better align with our park priorities. But the NFC campaign, the National Fitness Campaign, is counting on doing a 2022 campaign and should have details soon. So we have another meeting scheduled in about a month to see what the status of that is. And of course, it'll make a huge difference that if we decide to pursue it, that we'd have a full year to prepare for the grant as opposed to a matter of weeks.
much better.
So
Thank you, Mark. Do we have Chris on the line?
I'm here. Good to see you all again.
Hello, Chris.
hi, Chris.
So Mark and I and David have talked a little bit about the grant application, MNRTF or Rec Passport or Land and Water Conservation Fund, and what you want to pursue this, if anything, this year. Looking back at the recreation plan and what the public input was for most desired items, there were two things that really stood out. One of them was new playground equipment, and that's something that's been on the table since the last rec plan. And when we did the Clara Miller master plan, that was something that people were very interested in.
Yes,
But
sir.
then the other one that really stood out was getting a trail developed along South Commerce, so you can connect down to the airline trail. I think both projects are something that have merit, and the trail in particular is something that I think it probably had a little bit more interest than the other. However, to get that one into play, I think is going to take a lot more intergovernmental cooperation. You're going to have to talk with your neighbors and try to figure out exactly how things are going to hook up. I think that's something that you can start planning for now, but that you really might not want to pursue that until next year's cycle. In the meantime, the play equipment is something that there's definitely a need for. There's definitely a call for. And if you want to go that route, we really need to start immediately. The grant applications are due on April 1st. Before that can happen, we have to have a public hearing where we present what you want to pursue. As far as what you want to pursue, if you tell me tonight that you want to go after funding for new play equipment, I just need to have an idea of what level you're comfortable going after. And that's something I can talk with Mark about offline too later on. Are we looking at, my thinking is you probably want to have two pieces of play equipment that are age specific. One is like a tot structure for ages up to age 5, and then the second one be 5 to 12. That's typically what people go for, what communities go for. Second question would be, what kind of surfacing do you want to have underneath it? Traditional surfacing is they use engineered wood fiber, and that's something you've got underneath all of your equipment now. It's less expensive up front, but it does require frequent maintenance because you need to make sure you've got it at a sufficient depth to offer good fall protection. It is considered accessible, which is good, but it's not universally accessible. And the difference between accessible and universally accessible is basically, it's just a level of degree. You can have all of your play equipment right now, for example, is considered ADA compliant. It's accessible. Somebody who is disabled can use that equipment. Universal accessibility is more like the was it Sarah Smiles playground?
Garlic. Yeah.
That's a much bigger ticket. And frankly, takes more planning than I think we can do in the next month and a half. And then the only other item that would be in my mind is we start talking about the whole grant process is a point-based system. So there are certain things that if you can tick off, it helps you get your score up and you compete better with other communities. Two things that always stand out with that point-based system are, one, the match, and two, there's a lot of these little things like sustainability points and things like that. The sustainability points are fairly easy to get. It's a matter of what can you put in to make this have less of an impact, and what can you use. So like planting trees in addition to the equipment that are related to the play equipment. Use of sustainable materials. So if you've got benches around it, for example, you use recycled material benches, and putting out recycle bins and things like that. But the match component is challenging for a community like Wolverine Lake, because you are in what's considered the upper third as far as your income levels. So in order to get the minimum match requirement for all of the programs is 25%. My recommendation to a community like Wolverine Lake is that you put in 50%. That gets you in a much more competitive standing than you would with 25. You end up losing, I think it's 20 points if you don't go up to 50%. And so you're automatically at a disadvantage when you do the application. That's kind of where we are right now. If we want, as I said, if we want to go for it this year, and I'm not one to talk you out of it, but there's nothing saying you absolutely have to apply for a grant this year. If you want to take time, really research it, decide exactly what you want this to look like, get community input, that's great. I am all in favor of doing a little bit more planning in the front end to make sure you've got everything you need when it comes time to turn in that application. If, on the other hand, you want to say you're looking at this like, hey, we just got a rec plan, we just paid for this thing, went through this whole process, and we're eligible, so let's go for it. I'm all for that too. I've done it before and have been successful, and hopefully we can be successful in your case as well. That's my spiel. So I'd like to hear what everybody on the board is thinking.
Is there any outputs of monies by going forward?
Not until the grant is approved.
Okay.
So there is the output of, if I'm going to put the plan together for you, it's my time. And Mark and I have talked about that before. That's something we probably do under retainer, or our retainer, and it shouldn't be anything significant. Typically, I think I've done applications for under $5,000 in the past, and end up bringing in $300,000 for whatever the project is. I guess that's something I should touch on as well. The different grant programs offer different dollar amounts or maximum dollar amounts. Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund is probably the one you'd want to go for, simply because the recreation passport, although it's somewhat easier to do the application, from what I've heard from speaking with the grant coordinators, recreation passport is the most competitive. And I think it's the most competitive because it doesn't technically require a recreation plan to be on file. They accept a capital improvement plan that's on file. So they get some lower income communities who, are just saying, well, I want to put up something, like put benches in, and they just do it quickly. So they get a lot of applications. Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund, as I said, has a $300,000 maximum. If you're looking at putting in 2 play structures, I would expect, and I want to talk to a couple of vendors and make sure that this number is on track. You're probably looking anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000 to get a nice piece of equipment in. And that would include, I believe would include port and place surface. Again, I need to work that number out, But that's why one of my questions for you is, what is a number that you're comfortable with? Some communities have done it put in structures for $20,000. I would suspect that with Clara Miller's focus in the community, you want something pretty nice and that people are going to look at and go, wow, that looks great. And if you can get it for half price, so let's say that we do $80,000 and you're getting it for $40,000, that's an easier sell to the community than saying we want to put $80,000 towards this.
I like that thought. Does anybody have anything to say or ask?
How detailed do we have to be in terms of, like, say, specific structures or anything like that at this point in the application?
You don't. They understand that this is a reimbursement grant, and if you were to be awarded the grant, you wouldn't even hear about it until December of this year. And then the Michigan legislature has to approve the budget, which would mean you're looking probably February or March before they're going to say, okay, you've actually got the money, now go ahead, or if the money is approved for you, go ahead and do what you need to do. In a year, a lot can happen, as we've all seen in the past year. So there's definitely wiggle room. What they are going to be specific about is knowing exactly what the borders of the park are, knowing where the equipment's going to go in, and what kind of equipment you're going to put in. So if you say, I'm putting in 2 structures with pour-in-place surfacing, benches and trees, you have to put that in. They're going to expect that. But as far as, you know, are we going to use Playworld versus whatever other company, they're not going to worry about that. But it's, you know, obviously it's good to take a look at and get an idea of what types of things are out there, so you've got a better sense of price.
Well, I think we should go forward with it. I mean, I think, what you said, April 1st, Chris?
Right. So I guess my first question for you is, when does the council meet again? Or because we need to have an official resolution from them approving going forward, and that public hearing. So we need to make sure we get that advertised as soon as possible.
So I have a question. So say we go through this and put forth the effort for the grant and we get rejected, can we reapply next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't cost us anything to just go for it and see what happens, right?
Right.
I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question also, because he makes a comment of, we would be best to put in the 50%. So do we know what kind of money we have to work with to start? I mean, he says anywhere from 80 to 100. Do we have that kind of money available? I mean, do we have the 40 or the 50,000?
Yes.
We do?
For the upcoming budget, the July 1st budget, we can allocate that much to it to ensure that we did that. We did that last year as well. When we were going for that grant last year, the village did allocate $100,000 for that. So we do have the ability to do that. And
Is that still in there? Or was that used towards something else?
some of that was used, I believe, for the bathrooms and
Right.
expansion. But for the upcoming, once we do the upcoming budget, because I think all communities run on a July budget. So they know that we're going to have to allocate at that point for it and put that in there.
And not to interrupt you, but I should also say that it's a 2-year project window. So you don't absolutely have, come February, you don't have to have $100,000 in the pot ready to go. As long as you have a resolution saying that we will put X amount of money towards this project, depending on getting the grant, then you could actually start it up in the following fiscal year, do your engineering at the start, or the planning at the start, and then have your construction money for the next fiscal year. So it would actually be constructed 2023 maybe. It just depends on whatever you're comfortable with.
So, council meets on March 10th. Is that when the public hearing would be? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Is that
'Cause
enough time?
the council meets once a month, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'd have to be. So we would need to get this on the books quickly. And the good thing is we do have the previous application that can be tweaked. It's going to take more than a little tweaking to get it up to the level it needs to be for you to be competitive. I think we can do that without too much trouble. And I'll work with Mark and David to make sure we've got a resolution put together, that everything is lined up in the way it should go. And by the 10th, then we can get that approved and submitted.
Does anybody else have any other questions or thoughts? Do we need to put this to a vote as Parks and Rec to push to council for a public meeting at their next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so could we have a roll call then, please,
We
Hannah?
need to make a
I'll make a
motion.
motion. Does someone want to make a motion?
So I'll make a motion to move forward with submitting the grant for the playground equipment to go to council for the March 10th meeting.
And a public hearing also.
And a public hearing.
Second,
Yes.
or does it need to be two motions or
It can be one.
it can be one? Okay.
I'll second, Lombrick.
Okay, could we have a roll call, please?
Long Break,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Giramini,
Yes.
Kiriko,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Tarango,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
All right, thank you, guys. That's
Great,
awesome.
thank you. I'll be in touch. Mark will give you a call tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris, very much. Okay, so we'll move on to the pickleball ordinance. Chief Ellsworth, they're not going to put signs on Waukito for no parking. He was going to go talk with the young lady and tell her that should she have problems with people parking in back of her driveway, she's an elderly lady handicapped, that she just needs to call and they will see to it that they come out to have the cars removed instead of her dealing with the people. And also, as far as the pickleball ordinance goes, I don't know so much if there's going to be an ordinance other than for a noise ordinance. Chief Ellsworth was going to work with our lawyer to see about bringing something about. So that's kind of on hold. Is that about right, Mark?
Yeah, they're going to work on an ordinance
Yeah.
that is more specifically targeted towards noise rather than creating a specific time frame just for the tennis courts. There was some concerns of the idea of slippery slope, and then what would happen, that might then need to be applied to a different part of the park at some other time and things like that. And that this noise ordinance could be more effective because there already are relevant noise ordinances for the park, and that this would just have to be, it would be just a little bit more of a modification to the wording to better incorporate in addressing something like pickleball. Some of the council members weren't aware of that it is a rather noisy game too. So that seems to be the route that they thought would be the most appropriate to go. And then they did toss out in regards to, because of the issues with the parking, the idea of potentially expanding Waukito a little bit, even though they just paved it. But that would be an option as well in the long run to help alleviate the parking issues for that resident, because it's currently only 4 spots. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. So anybody have any other questions? If not, we can move on to the 2021 events. The St. Patrick's bus trip. Diane?
Well, I canceled it.
Oh, okay.
Well, what happened is there are no communities in Michigan. All the St. Patty's Day events have been canceled. The only one that didn't cancel was one I found in Owasso. And with the high rate of infections, I decided it's best to cancel it.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I know. I tried to get it to work and I thought, but I did come up with a great idea for maybe later, depending on what happens, is I'd like to chair a 5K run,
Oh, that would be awesome.
and it's called a bubble run. So at the finish line, there's this machine that has all these bubbles that fall on you as you're running through. So I checked into that. I already have the course set up. So I already talked to Lyndon JR, and they could set up a beer tent. They have a license to be able to do that. So it's something that I'm going to work on putting together. What do you guys think about that?
Could you
Awesome.
get beer along the way of the run? Like instead of water, because we just hand you a beer. 'Cause that would get an audience. That would get a crowd.
Yes.
That's
They
great.
have like a 100-yard dash for the kids, so they'll have their own little separate area, and we'll have their little bubble machine going too. So I initially was thinking about Memorial Day weekend somewhere around there, but I don't know what's going to happen in May. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to do it. Just when yet, it's going to be hard to say.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
And there was something else I thought about. What was it? It was the bubble run and, an art show. Because there's a lot of people that live in Wolverine Lake who do art. We have oil painters, we have photographers, we have jewelry makers, we have jackets. So that's the other thing I was thinking might be kind of fun to put on.
That's awesome. Two great ideas. That's
So
awesome.
anybody have any ideas about that? I mean, we could either do it at the Richardson Center, or Kevin from Task Karate, who actually is a photographer, does paints his work. He said we could hold it at the dojo too. So there's a couple options that once things open up a little more.
Say, the only thing others may be worried about, I'm not so much, but the 6 feet difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, how many patrons can you have around looking at the artwork? I mean, I've been to many art fairs, whether it be Birmingham, Ann Arbor's, all many, and there's usually lots of people around booths. That's a concern.
Well,
I
yeah,
love the
so if we
idea.
had it outside, that would be better. But again, I'm afraid to put anything together right now just because of, what's going on. So, but anyway, a group of us were talking the other night around a campfire about that. And I said, I'm going to present that to the board. So.
I think they're good presentations. And it's something that if we can't do it this year, it's always on the docket for.
Yeah, right.
No, we
right.
tried to get a couple of years ago Huron Valley of the Arts, like for the corn roast and stuff, or even some of their artists. And I know you had a couple of friends that maybe were interested too. So yeah, that'd be great if especially just a Wolverine Lake art show.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, great way to display the talents of our neighbors.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, anybody have anything else to add? Alrighty, then we'll move on to the Easter Bunny Lunch, please, for the March 27th. We are booked at Richardson, but right now it's only 10-person capacity unless the renting situation changes. I don't see it happening. Someone told me that now it's put till June. I thought it was going to be March, was like the end of this. But so if it doesn't happen at the Richardson Center, I thought about, like Diane had, the Santa Claus. And I thought we could always go over to Claire Miller and do the Easter Bunny and make goodie bags. If they were made up a week ahead of time, they would have plenty of time to sit. If the Easter Bunny, I don't know, if we had to have tongs to hand them out to the kids and pictures were taken, if Monica would even be interested for pictures. That's the only other idea I can think of, because we really can't hide eggs, because then they would not be sanitary unless each one of them was in a little baggie and hidden.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could contact Wixom is still planning on their Easter egg hunt and bunny fun on March 28th. It doesn't say that they're canceled as of yet. I don't know how they're doing it, but when you said like you looked up the St. Patrick's, I was like, wonder if there's any bunnies going on.
Well, what's your guys'? I can contact Wixom tomorrow and then email you guys with what it is. Now, is that talking behind the scenes? I don't know how far this thing goes with what you can do with people. But if I texted you something about what Wixom did, is that like a meeting
Oh,
without?
I think what, I mean, well, finding out what Wixom did, there's nothing wrong with us finding out information. I think the
Okay.
big thing for us is Wixom's risk tolerance versus Wolverine Lake's risk tolerance, maybe two different levels. And Wixom does have a few more, may have more contingencies in place and things like that. I think it would be important to consult with the chief to gauge his comfort level with doing things, and particularly in terms of distribution of things or of even an egg hunt or anything like that, just so that we get a good idea of where he would be comfortable with us doing.
So should I just put this, can just put this on hold till I talk with Chief tomorrow and then get with Wixom's to see what they are, and then I can email you guys and see what you think. And if you think it's not a good idea, then we can just postpone it. And then do we have to wait till the March meeting to, well, we can't make a decision, but we could. End of March.
Look, yeah, I would just say if we can, if you get some kind of, I think we already scheduled it as whatever the Easter Bunny event could be. So it's kind of always already been a pretty free flowing concept. And I know we put in there, very well could be canceled. So it's basically you have the freedom to make it what you want if you're running it. And then, wherever you're going to have it, if we have it, I'll be there to help. And I think a lot of us will, and
Okay.
kind of go from there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we can't do it indoors, and
No.
and we're kind of, it's going to, I think the big thing will be, is it just going to be the Easter Bunny waving, or can we distribute something, or can we have the kids doing
See what
some kind of
Wixom has on
activity?
their agenda, and then, because we're not Wixom. But-
Julia,
Yes,
were you,
ma'am.
was it March 27th was the Saturday that you tentatively were you talking about? Was that it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
Well, why don't we just do a drive-by bunny hop thing like we did for Santa?
Yeah, because.
Yeah, I agree.
Why
And
don't we
then-
just do a drive-by bunny thing?
Look, and if I would say this, if the chief says, yeah, you can hand out a goodie bag, we can throw that in there, because that's not going to alter the event itself in any major way.
Okay. Alrighty.
And if I would rather be able to add something than take away something from from the initial planning stages.
This is what he told me about Santa. He was worried that there were going to be a lot of people, a lot of touch points. And if you're going to be handing something out, when they register, we have to have who's ever in the car, their name, address, contact number. But
Right,
if
yeah.
somebody shows up that's not registered in the car, then they have to fill out the form. So that's how it was presented to me with Santa. So if you're handing something out, if we don't hand anything out and do it a little differently after learning from Santa, if Monique is on the other side of the cars taking pictures or something like that, I think it could work. And then maybe you have pre-made bags where they just come and grab it.
That's what I
They drive by, you set up a table and they just come by and grab it. So they're just touching what they're taking.
Okay.
I don't know, just an idea.
Well, no, it's a good idea because I liked the Santa thing. That was fun. That was awesome. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because if we.
And
I
we
mean,
can still have, the DJ and he'll play bunny hop music or I don't know.
All righty. And then, I'm sorry.
Mark, do you still have the membership with,
Yeah.
it's not Rural Trading, but it's the
Mhm.
other?
Yeah.
What was it?
It's Fun Express.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for the discount stuff. Yeah.
Okay, because we can look at that and see, and maybe Mark,
We may have stuff from last year too, because did we
Okay.
order a bunch
No,
of stuff?
mean, I never turned my stuff in. I kept it.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
And
I
I
think there's
bought
some,
like prizes and stuff.
okay, because I think there's some stuff in the basement too. From
I
last
know
year.
I ordered it. I wonder if it ever came. Maybe it
No, if you
did.
did, oh yeah, it's there. Because they picked the village got it, and so it's down there.
I haven't
Whatever
seen
you
much.
ordered.
Maybe it's out in the, but, okay, so then we can, well, then if we're going to do this, whether it happens or not, may I please request that funds be allotted through council to pursue this? And if it doesn't, the funds are still there.
You want a motion to release
The funds.
Motion to
or Easter Bunny, Easter
Easter,
extravaganza,
Easter Bunny event.
Easter Bunny event.
For March 27th. Is that an okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the motion, and then someone second it, please.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, may we have a roll call, please, and thank you?
Yes. Jeremini,
Yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes?
Carrico,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Turagona.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Hannah, very much. Okay, so. now-
Julie, real quick, is it gonna still be a free event? Even if we do the little giveaways and all that?
I thought it would be easier because then they have to register, and like Diane said, because they just kind of drove through with the Santa, right, Diane? They didn't register.
Yeah, we didn't hand anything out. It was strictly a drive-by
But
event.
would we need to know? Because how would we make sure we
That
have?
I'm wondering how we know how many to hand out. Not
Well,
saying
you
that
can
I don't
maybe
think
charge
free
by the
is-
carload. I think some drive-by events charge by the car,
And then that would be pre-done at the village.
but I don't know. But if you're handing something out to kids, I guess you would need to know how many, maybe
Yes.
you would want them to register as kids, and then everybody gets the same thing regardless.
Okay, so then I'll check with,
Yeah, 'cause I
Yeah,
don't-
but-
You will need some money because if we're going to hand something out.
right, yes, ma'am.
But the cost of this though is a lot lower since
Oh,
we're not
yeah. I
compensating
mean,
Santa, so. We just get a volunteer.
even
bunny.
if you said $5 a car, I mean,
That's not-
how many kids are they going to have in there? 3,
Yeah,
Go
it's
on
really-
a lot.
So we'll make it $5 a car, and then I'll get with Tabitha and tell her, and then,
That's if we choose to distribute anything. If we don't
Right.
distribute, I mean, either way, I think that it really depends on what you decide to give out. Because if it's something relatively inexpensive and
no, it won't
we
be
can use for
expensive.
next year, then it's not a big deal. I mean,
If we have the stuff from last year, I made sure everything we bought total was under 40, and that was enough for, I mean, you could probably make a couple hundred bags.
okay,
I mean, that didn't include candy, because I didn't want to buy.
right.
All right, I'll look into this, and then I can email you guys that too if you want. And then just talk with Tabitha and Paige tomorrow in regards to a possible $5, or wait until we see what we,
Well, I mean, you want to talk to them about getting some kind of advertising going too.
Right.
So,
the flyer.
Mark, is there a way to check through that company? Because it's all registered under you, right? To see if we actually had it delivered?
oh, it was delivered.
Okay.
I remember because I got an email from Mike Kondek
Okay.
about it. He says, yeah, you guys, I didn't look at it, but there's something down there. I assume it was all delivered. I don't know if they,
Because I didn't submit any receipts. I just, all the stuff's sitting in my face.
because that fell right in the middle of that.
Okay, well, I'll pull together a couple of ideas, and then I'll email you guys with this, or text you guys, and then you can just banter back, and then we'll take it from there. Because really, we'll have our next meeting before this happens. And if it looks like
Yeah.
it's going to fall and crash, another, due to COVID or more restrictions. So I'll check into it a little bit further. Thank you for your support. And then, is there any other questions or concerns? Then we'll move on to Tuesdays in the park, and there was no chairperson. I just assumed, so I'm going to be down there. Does anybody else want to chair that, or?
I'll be there
It
for
doesn't
'em.
matter, I'm not working, so it's easy for me to be down there. And we do have the dates of the 22nd and the 20th of July. I would like to see maybe getting a couple more things in there. Like through Oakland County, they have other things online that we can
So
have
I
done.
can share my screen and show you guys. They expand. I don't know if they expanded it or if we weren't taking advantage before.
I don't think we
but-
really knew what to
But
ask.
so I will show you guys what they kind of added. So there is this Oaks on the Road thing, and this is the big event part where they have this 3-tier system, the 3-unit different things. And those we get 2 of those. And so they include all of that stuff, or 1 of each, I should say. And so they give us 2 of those, and they say it's about recommending about 40 attendees, give or take. I mean, for us, that's hard to guess. And we could always warn them that we may be a little higher. But that's something they offer. And we've never taken it. I don't know if this is newer. And I know it was available last year too, but for us, it was a little too much with all that was going on. But they offer that plus, oh, that's the wrong thing. They offer just a mobile recreation, which is sort of like what we've usually done. So they've got the festival. I would not, some of it I'm just like, I don't want to do anything where it's like the tower again. I don't know, the obstacle course, I wouldn't do that again. I did that last year. I think it's a little too older kid aiming, but they have all these sets of options. And you get 3 of those, plus the 2 of these Oaks on the Road packages, and then also 2 nature education programs. So we do have a few things to choose that we can choose from. We don't have to do any of them, or excuse me, or we can pick and choose what we would like to do. But there are more options than we've usually had. Because usually we've had the 3 Tuesdays in the parks where 2 of them were like the bouncy houses, and then 1 day of nature discovery. And then last year they were getting rid of the nature discovery. But then I guess they brought it back, or they changed it up a little bit to make it a little more appealing. So we do have a few more options available to us for offerings. And I mean, let's face it, that's 7 events would be a lot in terms of commitment of time and everything else. Obviously, it looks like the easiest ones to do because they don't have the same attendance rules or expectations are the standard mobile recreation ones. But we can certainly, expand our offerings or do whatever. But
Well, I'd like to kind of see like that hike thing with the Earth Day and then with the animals, because I was going to try and do like a bird watch thing. And it says that they will come to our place. We have that place over there by the Vita Trail that we could go through looking at birds or.
yeah, so they have a nature table, nature program, and a nature
Yes.
hike. And the pop-up hike may be done in your community, which we have plenty. That's our parks.
Yes.
Perfect for a hike. And they'll talk about local plants and animals in your area. So that would be, I mean, that's something we can certainly do here. We've got the paths, we've got the Vita Trail. So, I mean, as soon as you walk into the Vita Trail, you're just surrounded by vegetation and everything
Yes.
else. Especially that section of the Claire Miller North section in general has a lot of that. So we could certainly do something like that, and we can schedule that. We used to do during the day if we wanted to. Or we could, I mean, yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some options, expanded selection this year for us. But yeah, we just got this, I think last week, this modified application and form.
Does anyone have any ideas about some of the stuff they just kind of saw, like they'd maybe like to? The nature walks would be something you could keep 6 feet between you. You could wear your mask outside. You could,
Mhm.
it's user friendly.
What was the age demographic in the past when we've done these events?
It's really varied. I mean, you get 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds up to I'm terrible at kids' ages because, they're all short, like probably 8 or 9-ish. Usually the nature discovery ones are a little skew younger in terms of the audience. When you have something like a bouncy house or an obstacle course, the older kids tend to enjoy it. But I would say 3 to 10. I mean, I don't know if you guys would say, but yeah, that's usually the age group. I mean, and we've had, the last few years, before last year, I should say, we had really good showings. This was a pretty popular day. So.
Yeah,
we
I
could
like
really,
I like the nature events. I think that's a great idea.
and we could really vary it too with the options. We don't have to, like we've normally just gone with like the bouncies in normal years. And we could really change that up this time and go, a different route with those, because they do have, the go fish, the archery and stuff like that, the axe throwing. I'm assuming those are inflatable axes. Or just the car. I mean, it looks like there are a lot more of those kinds of things rather than like the bouncy houses and stuff this time around. Except for I think Festival is actually a bouncy house, but I personally would like to avoid that this year. I think there'd be a lot of anxiousness. So
disc golf may be something that's good, for saw that.
Stick at archery, go big games, axe throw. Yeah, I think that was on this thing. Oh,
So
it's
does
easier
somebody
to
want
pick.
to pick something in particular and check into it and maybe host it, or? Like you said, the disc golf, do you want to check into it, or do you want me to check into all these, or just?
Well, it looks like this one, the disc golf is a part of the trio, whole big old thing. So in that one, they ask, packages are best with about 40 or fewer. We can always let them know that we may have more attendees, but I think I'm guessing there'll still be relatively limited showings because there's still there's a lot of parents who are naturally anxious about what's going on. So I wouldn't expect that we would have the showings that we were having, like we were getting between 100 plus people between parents and kids. So I don't think we're in a necessary, I think we still have I'm not concerned too much that they're going to fill up too fast. And we're only in February, so I can email this out to everybody, and so they can kind of look at it for themselves.
I'd like to see it a little closer because
that's what I was thinking.
Small on my laptop.
Yeah, now you're not squinting, and you can kind of just generally absorb a little more. Yeah, I'd like to do this, and maybe we do like 3 or 4 of them, and that way we have a little bit of a variety, and we try one of those big day ones just to see how it works out for us and everything else, because it's a little bit of an unknown. But yeah, so we can certainly expand our Tuesday in the Park offerings from just the 2 if we'd like to.
When does it have to be scheduled? Is there a particular deadline or?
Not really. It's more of a first come, first serve kind of dynamic. But like they'll have things where it's like, if they only have one set of each thing. So obviously if they book that thing, you can get a different thing sometimes on the same day. And again, it doesn't have to be a Tuesday, of course. It's just kind of what we've always used that day for. But we can Thursday in the Park, not quite as catchy, but could still work.
Right.
The idea is just to kind of get some new things into the village instead of the same old, not that the same old isn't good, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but
when it's free,
Exactly,
That's a good price for us.
as
Right.
much as possible.
And so there, I mean, I'm guessing partially why these offerings are available too is, you know, the bus trips aren't being happening for them, and you know, I doubt, and who knows what they're going to do with the water parks and stuff. And so this whole RAP program that we've had such, you know, a great relationship with is just, they're finding new ways to
Reach out.
for us to enjoy and use their stuff. So
Okay, well
I'll
then,
send that out to everybody.
and then everybody can figure if there's something you see you really, really like and you might want to see about setting a date and doing it. We can talk about that at the March meeting.
That's
'Cause
good.
then
Yeah, I'll look and I can make some phone calls if we need more clarification and I can talk to Mark. I don't mind helping with that.
Thank
You
you,
know,
hon.
'cause there's some interesting things on that. It looks like
Yes,
different age groups. I liked it. The disc golf, there was even,
yes.
you think that inflatable, archery. You can
Yeah.
get different age group. One was mini golf, just only like 3 putting. You know, just little kids that would like to learn how to golf. Might encourage kids to golf. So
Do we want to do that though? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of golf. Yeah, there's, I mean, they got tie-dye with squirt guns. I mean, they got some pretty neat
yeah, I
things.
think it sounds really fascinating. Like
Yeah,
you
they-
said, it's free.
Yeah. I mean, well, technically our taxes are going towards it, so
Yes.
we might as well get our money's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, send it out. I'd like to look at it a lot closer.
Okay.
Being very interested.
Thanks, guys. And if you see something you want to take on,
Okay.
I'll be there to help ya.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we don't need anything to vote on that one. So does anybody have anything else to say, or? Then we'll move to number 4, summer fall garage sale. Just that's where the correction was, August 507, 5-7, 2020, change it to 221. If, I don't know if it's a legal document, it has to be totally spot on, but, and then it was brought up through a person to, for the Oak Island subdivision, they wanted to know why they didn't have they wanted to have a May 13th through 15th garage sale. And I don't see why they couldn't do that separate of us. I don't think it has to be under us. Does it?
Nope. People have garage sales all the time.
So
So
they can
I've
just
seen,
go ahead
yeah,
and.
you have the village doesn't have any kind of a regulatory issue with
Okay.
people having their own garage sales. Or even subdivisions or home associations, they can
So
do
they can
it.
do whatever, whenever.
Julia,
Yes, ma'am.
were they asking, like, did they want the Parks and Recs to like get flyers going for them? Is that what they're asking? Did they want our involvement? Is that what they're asking?
I'm not sure exactly what, it was Ed that had called, and I told him what he needed to do was to call the village, get this information, to log into our meeting and to come about as a person from the public to express what he wanted. He has not done so, but in all fairness, I brought it up. That's why if I don't see where, what the advertising we do, is it just go on the sign, or is it in the, what is
Oh,
going?
the village advertises it on, it sometimes doesn't add in the paper, sometimes it posts online, plus it prints out the map with those who registered for it and things like that. I mean, in a normal situation, people just put up a sign that says garage sale and they post it on Nextdoor, on Craigslist or whatever, and people go to their garage sale. And then we've had the one a year that we do in August traditionally, from what I understand,
Right.
for quite some time.
Okay, so we don't need a chair for that. There was no chair for that.
Yeah, I don't think that we need one. I mean, it's not really a charitable or
Okay,
critical.
not necessary. So then we don't really need to take steps. They can just, do their own garage sale then
Of course,
for their May.
you could have a garage sale this weekend if you were
Okay,
insane.
so then we're not a part, we don't have to worry about getting that into our
No,
flyer.
we're not
Okay.
going to start permitting garage sales and stuff.
Okay, all right, so I will, thank you very much, and now we'll go on to the fishing contest, August 14th, 2021. We don't have a chairperson. Was anybody going to chair that?
I mean, can we even have that?
I don't know.
I mean, that and the corn roast, I mean, isn't that kind of like up in the air?
Yep,
Yes.
everything's up in the air.
I
Everything
mean,
is, yes, nothing is written.
I
in
mean,
stone.
I'll help with the fishing contest if we can have it. I mean, won't take it on myself, but
Yeah, I'll jump on the fishing contest for sure.
Pardon me?
okay,
Mitchell said he would.
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mitchell. And you'll have, I mean, I'll be there. I know Diane will be there. I know Mark will be there. We'll all be back. and
I can literally walk over to the fishing contest, so yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to leave you stranded on a pier. We'll help you out in all ways possible.
I chaired it in whatever the 2019. I can let you know, help you out. And of course, the bait shop was awesome
Yes.
in helping me out because I didn't know what I was doing and everything else. So
And I would like,
the most difficult thing is getting up in the morning to go do it.
yeah, they were really good, and it's supporting our village too, our village businesses by using him. He's a really sweetheart of a guy. Okay, thank you, Mitchell. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Did you find out anything about your blood drive?
Yep. So I talked to Andy Stone
Okay,
briefly. I didn't really go into too much detail with him on it, but from my understanding, he was going to check with Chief on it. And I put in a call like a week or two ago to the woman at Red Cross.
mhm,
I haven't heard back from her. But I talked to, when I met with the Masons, you know, I guess so we just signed a rental contract. And the timing with the Masons doing a blood drive, I don't know if they'd be willing to let us use the building just because the Red Cross does it at times. What they did say they would 100% be open to is doing something like a joint venture and us and the village using the building, where we would do it together. So not sure
okay.
how we can do that, but that'd be 100% something they'd be open to.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's, yeah. And
Can
a
they do
joint
it?
venture is great too, because then you have,
Can they do it outside the blood drive in like normal, decent weather?
no, because you have alcohol going on skin with gloves, needles poking tissue into veins. No,
Okay.
I would say no.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, we do it during the summer or something.
I'm just coming from an infectious disease phlebotomist, IV person. No. So all you need is a bee to land on somebody and them to have that needle jam higher deeper into their arm, or no,
Big reaction.
or a reaction. Yes. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mitchell.
I'll come back with more on it once I get with Andy. I'll talk to him this week and see where we're at.
And thank you very much for hosting the fishing contest, and we're backing you 1,000%.
Cool.
Okay, and then, so anybody else have anything to say with that? Then we'll move to Cornrows, September 11th, 2021. Anybody willing to chair that? If not, I can, but I will need your guys' visions because I was always at the raffle booth with the raffle prizes, the raffle tickets. I never even got up to see what was around me because all the presents were there. So if we made up a list of what we had and everyone can see, I don't know what we had, and if we want to improve and add more or subtract. If we want to have food, I mean, I found out, because I never even ate any of the food, I didn't realize the potato salad and the macaroni salad came in little closed containers. And the hot dogs were wrapped up in foil. So, I mean, that would kind of go COVID-like if we chose to do just corn and that, or we could maybe do, I don't know, food trucks. So it's all up in the air, and you guys help with ideas, and we can push forward in March with more definite ideas as to what we need to look towards and go for. I know the petting zoo and the band are already paid for, so they're going to definitely be there. And I know Mark and Kelly really put a lot into it, so I don't, I'm sure he even has in his dreams where each stand was.
Oh, I could write it down in a picture and stuff.
I figured.
Oh yeah. It doesn't really, it's not so much dreams as haunted dreams, but yeah, it's ingrained in there. Yeah, the petting zoo is, the band is booked for that day. The petting zoo it's on reserve for a day. We can schedule them for that day specifically if we want to, but we do have that flexibility with that one. And of course the band would, if we ever were moving them again, would probably be flexible. But yeah, so we have those things at least on reserve for the corn roast. And then, yeah, I think it'll be a lot of, again, up in the air of how many people can we have in the park, and do we want to have vendors plus raffles plus, I mean, and I think the food service question is a great one to determine. So.
Well, with the raffle, I'm sorry, I'm going to back down on going to businesses like I have the past couple of years, because I don't have it in my heart to approach a business who I'm not sure what I just don't have it in my heart to ask them to give, because they're needing our support to keep them moving. So if there were any raffles, it would be baskets made up like wine baskets. They went over very well. Maybe a kid's basket, a boys and a girls or something on that line that could be raffled, but it would not be going and asking businesses to donate. I don't have the heart to do that this year. I don't know what anybody else feels about that.
I think it's very fair. I mean, if we can always, post online and things like that about if there are people who would like to donate, they can contact us. But rather than us going to them and.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I would not be able
I
to.
think that there's other ways to do it, and have the corn roast, and I think everybody kind of understands it's gonna be at this point it's a very cautious corn roast, and it'll be that way as we approach it.
Okay, well, I appreciate the backup and the support then. So that'll be something else we'll look into in the next couple month or two, so we can figure out where we're gonna go with that, and then everything's subject to change. All righty, any other feedback on that? Then could we please move to 7, holiday decorating contest? Lori?
Yeah, that'll be in October and December of this year. I don't know what you need.
Okay, so
We just finished. So there's not really anything to do till it gets closer.
Okay. And then we'll move on to 8, Snacks with Santa, December 4th, 21. We don't have a chair for that. Does someone want the snack? And again, this is up in the air because we don't know if we'll have Richardson Center or if we'll do like we did this last time with Santa out in the
parking lot.
In the parking lot.
No, I'll take on the Santa again.
Oh, that was so much fun. I was an elf.
Whatever
dancing at
we're
the
gonna
road.
do, I have
So
no
much
idea what we'll be doing, but we're gonna do it.
Okay, thank you, darling. And then you're also gonna do letters to Santa.
Yes.
And then, okay. So under new and additional events, then we'll be looking into the Oakland County Parks and Rec for other ideas. Correct?
Yeah, for the Tuesday park
Or doesn't have to be a Tuesday.
Yep. Just,
And then
yeah.
The 5K or whatever.
And the 5K,
Blood drive.
bubble, and the blood drive.
5K.
I like that.
And Wolverine Lake Art Show. Or art
In the
show.
art show, yeah.
It made me think of
It doesn't have to be just Wolverine Lake.
the art show. Okay. So these are some really nice possibilities to bring a bunch of our people out in the village to have a decent time again without, I'm excited. This is going to be a really good year. It's going to be a different year, but you guys are a great board to be working with, and you've got phenomenal ideas, and it's going to be a fantastic 21. So
A general question. Is there a limit to how many people can be outside for an event?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I know there.
I thought I read 25.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have no idea. I haven't paid attention lately. Thank you.
Well, who would want to get together outside right now anyways?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to go join Diane's ring fire out in the snow, drinking hot toddies.
That was fun.
That looked like a real good time.
That was fun.
You make snow fun.
It was a little cold, but it was fun.
You look like you were having fun.
I
Okay.
covered the bonfire up before the snow came because I have enough wood for one more bonfire.
Well, if we have anything where I'd like to have everybody over sometime for a barbecue, kind of like if we can ever, with a fire in the fire pit. We'll have to see where that goes, but I'd like to have you all over and have some fun. So, okay, then that's new and additional. How about if we go on to 9, please? Working business. Mark, is Kelly here? Or Mark, are you gonna update?
Yeah, I was right here. So, well, we didn't meet in February. We'll be meeting in March. Things are going along with that. In terms of, though, there was one thing to discuss was, I believe we mentioned last month, the council putting a sign in at the Glengarry entrance. Of Claire Miller, so that people actually know that it's Claire Miller. And it would be sort of like this, the Welcome to Oak Island sign would be the same structure and theme, but it would say something more along the lines of Claire Miller Park, North Entrance, Vita Trail, Veterans Memorial. And just want to see what you guys think of that.
We're
I
talking
like
about
it.
the one.
I like that idea. Kind of goes continuity of the rest of the village.
Right, and yeah, and that way it would, because right now there is no sign telling you that's Claire. Number one, that it's a park, that it's Clara Miller Park as well. People think
Right.
it's a completely different park, and I can tell you from actual experience that there are people who've lived in the village for a while did not know that that was a part of it. They were just driving by it, like they go, for the life of me, I had no idea. One possibility that was discussed by a couple council members was putting an electric sign there.
Oh, my.
I was just asked to bring it to you guys.
I like the little sign and playground equipment of Claire Miller instead of sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, electric sign's not cheap. So
Yes, I
they
mean,
cost, the last one was about 30 grand.
yeah.
And I'm
and
assuming that's what they're thinking about. At this point, we're looking to put in a sign just so it's identifiable as a park and showing some of our park features. But
I don't think the little one would detract from the memorial. That big electric thing would be just, I don't know, that's my opinion. I like the.
Well, the
nicer-
Veterans Memorial itself, you can't miss it when you're driving by. So I don't think we need the electric version of it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know either. We already have 2. We got the other one, Claire Miller, and we have one of Corner South Commerce in Glengarry. I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah. If we needed another one somewhere down the road, you could put it over by Penny Lake at that entrance. But that was discussed many, 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 many years ago. But,
okay, I will let Dave, the administrator, know so that he can get the contact the sign company to do an official design to present to council. So,
should we make a motion on that? for you
we
to-
don't need to. I just needed to get. He just asked me if I could get some clarification, like
Okay.
run it by you guys, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to run it by the board first, just so you guys are in the loop.
While we're on the Veterans Memorial thing, I had a thought because like some of my other meetings, like specifically like the Coast Guard, because we have the Veterans Memorial and not just because of that, we always do the Pledge of Allegiance and then we have a moment of silence for those serving in the military. Is that something that we can do with all of our meetings?
I would be willing.
We can do whatever we want.
Well, no, I'm just
I mean,
talking about the whole village, at council
sure.
meetings.
I mean, you could
and-
certainly bring it to the village to just.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, there's 2 other boards I attend and we both do like moments of silence for the military or for those serving in the military.
I
And
know
I just
we've-
think it's kind of cool.
We've had moments of silence, I know, for recognition of specific events like
Yeah.
9/11, or if it just, especially if the meeting happened to fall on said day. But
Yeah,
again,
I don't
I'm
know. I
certain
just
it's
thought it
something
would
you
be
could-
kind of cool. Since we've got
to
this-
be honest with you, as long with the Zoom meetings, it would almost be better just to have a moment of silence, because the pledge gets so jumbled up because we're all on different, we're not on the same track, and
Right.
at least the moment of silence would, impart that same kind of acknowledgement, but in a cleaner fashion.
Yeah. Anyway, it was just an idea.
Well, that's a good idea. Anybody else have any ideas? I mean, I think it's a great idea. Anybody else have any input?
Oh, and also at the Veterans Memorial, we are working on like an arch design for the entrance. I think I told you guys this last time, but we're still kind of, we're shoveling it, keeping it clean. It's looking good. So,
Do you know how many bricks have we sold? How are we doing?
we got the 200 plus in, and I think now in the second round that we've got, just from the orders have come in, we're probably at about 25 or 30. I haven't really crunched the numbers, and I haven't picked up any orders submitted to the village in a while, because I just haven't, you got to make an appointment just to go over there right now. So I've had a lot of very interesting emails with people where, they share with you why they're doing it and things like that. It's really neat hearing the stories and things like that. One of the people actually at the memorial played in the major leagues, baseball, actually. I thought that was pretty cool. So we have a major leaguer in our memorial. But yeah, we'll at some point when we get closer to the spring and things like that, we'll set a hard deadline again. So that if you want to get your brick order in and get your brick in the next round, people will be aware and things like that. So
I'd heard something also about an arch for service dogs. Is that to be?
not an arch, but there might be there would be like a little memorial statue that would
Okay.
go into the garden area, and it would sort of be like the dog, to recognize memorial dogs, but then also it would be sort of like the idea that the dog is watching over the memorial as well. And so, yeah, that was suggested by a village resident, and the committee was pretty like, yeah, sounds like a great idea. So, yeah, we're looking at stuff for, like, options and possibilities for that too.
Does anybody have anything else to add with that, or? Okay, then we'll move on to beautification. I've got all kinds of ideas. I'm going to ask Mark, because he's such a computer. He got me into doing this meeting. He helped me along. Because of him, I am now an independent person on the computer joining a Zoom.
And
We had a
Ron,
practice Zoom meeting
log
last
in your
week.
Email as the password.
Yeah, it took me a couple times. I was trying to get my email in, but I'll get it. But I'm a big girl now. I'm stepping up to the plate, and so I'd like to do a couple little things. If Mark could show me how to do different flower gardens as a garden with some of the flowers, to show you guys and let you guys decide. Maybe this will look better.
Okay.
Maybe this will look better, because spring's coming up. The hostas will be used, and some of our daylilies will be used, because those suckers have been around for a long time and survived a lot of neglect. So they deserve to be. And I was thinking too, down here at our bathroom, sometime I'd like to somehow have a meetings, maybe not April, depends on, but May, have meetings down at the Clara Miller, because I don't know when our move-in date is to those storage units, but to have a total inventory, to take a look at that storage unit, find out where we're gonna put stuff, and maybe do a little bit of a walk around. I know a lot of our list from last year of things to be done got done with the bathrooms and that kind of stuff. But if there's more stuff that needs to be done, maybe do that walkthrough too, as well as a meeting. So we might need maybe an hour, but we can cut the meeting short if you want.
Yeah, we usually do the park walkthrough in April, and that would be
Okay.
a perfect
Well, we
time to
did the
do that.
last one in October. I had on my notes. I don't know if that was,
I don't think we never really did it. I kind of
Okay.
got distracted and the rain kept happening.
now if we do that walk, we need to make it open to the public.
Yeah, it'd be best. But I mean, you're just wandering around pointing out things, and so. But of course, it's just we usually just do it like before the meeting.
Okay.
Last year we did it in May because of COVID, and then we just had our meeting in the park. So
Right.
that's
I would
always an
like to do
option.
that again so we can get that started and check out our storage unit and figure out where we're gonna put stuff. If we're gonna need a block and tackle to maybe pull stuff up and hook it into the ceiling or put things on walls. Just kind of so we know where we're going with that. And then also, if you thought about it, it's just a brick building, and I would like some beautification to do something around the outer edges to kind of give it a little bit of a nicer look. Maybe some bushes, shrubs. As beautification. I don't know what anyone else thinks of that idea.
Oh, I love that idea. I think it'd be nice. I agree. It'd
Could
make it
hurt on a rectangular building. Give it a little something.
Well, because I mean, I've got the monies in the budget, and then before July, I'd like to have other projects because I'd like to extend and have more monies in beautification to do other things. But that's about the extent of it there. I appreciate you guys listening. So I guess we could move on to see Amenia Park. If anybody doesn't have any questions or ideas. Mark, do you have Amenia? You and Kathy?
Yeah, we'll be, the three of us will be meeting to discuss some ideas for the park. That'd be Molly, Kathy, and myself, in terms of making some recommendations for the board to, in purchases of a swing set or something along those lines. I figured out the whole thing with the fencing ordinance and having fencing at the park. And it turns out that when there was an ordinance in place in the village that said that when the village put in a park like that or anything, a public, non-public barrier or border, there should be a barrier in place between the two properties. And the original ordinance required it to be 12 feet deep, which would be insanely massive and would consume the majority of Amenia Park, seeing as how small it is. So the planning commission did amend that. So now we can do things like arborvitae or just a wooden fence. But that's something that we definitely need to do because it should have been on whenever the park was put in. And that's also something that goes to Oak Island as well. And then, so yeah, we'll be working on that with the recommendations using the design kind of base as a base that Chris Nordstrom made for us and put in the plan. So we'll be working on that. And then he had expressed some concerns about the slide and whether it was proper or municipal grade. And I checked with my contact at the company, and she assures me it is, and that it won't, that it really, what I learned was it's a lot harder than it used to be to buy playground equipment, because it used to be you bought it and you put it there. And nowadays, because of things like ADA, you aren't just thinking about like your backyard and what you'd want in your backyard. You got to think about everybody's backyard kind of thing, and making sure that every resident can use it, or at least have some things that they can use. So it's a little bit more involved, and there is a formula and a check off sheet and stuff like that. And I'll be I found a little pamphlet that I can send you guys that kind of gives you an idea of like the 12 things to check for in the park, like when you're in a park. And I think that would be good for all of us to have, so that we're a little more we have a little more understanding of what we need to look at, like for when we do the walkthrough and stuff. So yeah, that's about it there.
Okay, and then thank you. Does anybody have any questions or? Okay, do we have anyone from council? Oh, well, Mark, I'm sorry. You're a council liaison. Do you have anything other than?
I covered most of it, but then we will be having next week our goals session, our council will. So it's like the goals for the upcoming year. So obviously for Parks and Rec, I'm assuming we're kind of big on playground equipment and trying to get that done, and then just keeping the park in good shape and everything else. Should anybody have any other things they'd like to see in terms of long-term goals, don't hesitate to let me know. Or of course, you are welcome to attend the meeting on Wednesday. It's a public meeting, and so you'll be able to attend it virtually as well.
Okay, and forgive me, I didn't mean to skip planning. Is there someone from planning who wants to address us?
I have yet to have a planning meeting since last October, I think.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to skip you over, but I figured.
No, it's okay.
Let him continue, and then Okay, thank you. So, and we don't have anyone from Commerce Parks and Rec?
Correct.
Okay, then I guess we move comments from the public. I don't think we have public.
Nope, no public waiting for questions at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Did anybody have a birthday this month? Nobody had a birthday. Did anybody have a birthday in January? Okay, we don't get to sing happy birthday then. So I'm trying. If we had board meetings inside every month, I was going to bring a little cake, and everybody, regardless if they wanted to, we were going to just, if nothing else, just say hello there. But if any, okay, no happy birthday singing. So any comments from board members?
Stay warm.
And congratulations to Mitch. Welcome aboard officially.
Congratulations, Mitch and Julia. You're doing a good job.
Thanks, honey. My tail's a lot shorter in the rocking chair. It was so long the last time I thought I was going to get my tail rocked on. Well, I appreciate everybody coming. Thank you. Time is very precious to give up your time for this meeting. I appreciate it. It's greatly appreciated. So I guess if there's nothing else, then I suggest, do we need to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Okay.
Second by Mark.
Second by Mark. Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Okay, Hannah, may we please have a vote?
Yep. Giramini,
Yes.
Longbrake,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Charango.
Yes.
Righty, well, thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you for your stepping in and taking our minutes.
No
And
problem.
Thank you very much for everybody coming. Mitchell, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
You will be used muchy like everybody else.
Count me in.
Okay. And
Thanks, Julia. Good night, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Diane.
Good seeing you.
Night.
And I did it. I came into this. I did it.
I think that's going to get on YouTube, by the way.
So glad you have a new computer, he said.
Oh, yes, me too. Oh, my goodness gracious, yes. And internet. The first time I'm 68 years old and we have internet. Woo-hoo-hoo, I am stepping